Coinbase considers adding support for Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and ZRX. Sorry, XRP. Maybe next time. A US congressman sounds off on Bitcoin in response to the news that it was used to pay Russian hackers for meddling in the US election, reminding all of us, again, how stupid politicians are. If they had used cash, you wouldn't have found out, but because you solved the mystery with the Bitcoin, now you blame the Bitcoin. Fuck! A new token called iFish is clogging up the Ethereum network, leading to claims that EOS is behind this Sybil attack. Ripple's XRP system is still too slow and expensive for Western Union. The US Congress calls digital currencies the future of money in the title of its new hearing. Walton Chain introduces plans for global super masternodes. And Vitalik Buterin offers 7 difficult questions to the cryptocurrency community. We've got all your headlines mixed with some daily market analysis. I'm Elio Trades, and your FUD TV Daily Update starts now. Welcome back, FUD Nation. Now diving in here, we can see we got a bit of green here on the charts, having a nice little pump here on Bitcoin, really across the entire top 100. We have Moke, Kin, and ZRX topping the charts. Obviously ZRX with the rumors of it possibly being added to Coinbase, clocking some real good gains, as well as the other coins that were rumored to be listed, namely Stellar, Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Zcash, and ZRX. All clocking some seriously great gains across the week. The biggest winner, of course, being Basic Attention Token, which went from about 25 cents up to about 33 cents. They haven't dipped back down too much after those gains. The total market cap right now is about 257 billion. We'd taken a pretty significant dive down from the 270 mark where we were going sideways. Still haven't quite recovered back there. Bitcoin dominance is hovering in that sort of low 42%, mid 42% range. It's still pretty sideways with a few little minor announcements. We're looking for a little bit more of a catalyst here. For now, the sideways action continues with a little bit of green on the charts. Hopping over to our lead news out of the day, we have word that Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and ZRX are all being considered to be added to Coinbase. Now, of course, we know that most of these, or at least a few of them, have been fingered by different New York exchanges and cleared by New York exchanges, bit licensed exchanges for trading. And that's really one of these big sort of hurdles that we're looking for, as New York's bit licensed exchanges are of the most stringent. And we know that Coinbase wants to be completely compliant as they add new coins. Of course, the biggest omission from this list that everyone was looking for and everyone was expecting to be on this list is, of course, Ripple, or XRP, I guess, as we're calling it now. Anyway, the Ripple token XRP has hotly been anticipated to be added to Coinbase for months and months now. There's been rumors time and time again of it being added in the near future. And so this is a very clear omission from the list. And it really sends a signal as to where Ripple or the XRP token might sit as being deemed a security, which is, of course, the big fear around cryptocurrencies, is that the SEC will slap an unlicensed security label on it and it will become a very much so difficult thing to trade and possess. Regardless, we've seen tremendous growth out of all these coins that were rumored to be listed. And of course, they're each very unique and interesting projects. I'm personally already an owner in most of these coins and have been increasing my position in most of them throughout this dip. So I'm very excited about this news. It wasn't a huge surprise. Zcash is a privacy coin, which is surprising that it was going to be listed, but obviously it shows that's tremendous promise for the privacy sector. And of course, ZRX is the platform, or the protocol rather, powering the Paradex decentralized exchange that's already working with Coinbase through Coinbase Pro. So that's not a terrible surprise either. So all of this is very, very exciting. Hopefully they're all listed soon, but yes, this is very exciting times. And if you're holding any of these coins, then you have a lot to look forward to. Very much so sorry for the Ripple fam who were hoping that they would be included in the next batch of coins added. In a sarcastic response, the Kraken exchange replied saying that they're considering adding 1,600 cryptocurrencies to their exchange. And this was a sarcastic sort of troll response to the Coinbase announcement that they're considering these 5 cryptocurrencies, which may be their way of saying that they aren't really considering those heavily. And this was more of a sort of PR publicity stunt to get people re-engaged with the crypto markets. The full statement reads as follows. Exciting and important revelation for the community today. Kraken has been contemplating the exploration of maybe adding over 1,600 new coins, pending the outcome of our highly sophisticated review process. For a glimpse of the possibilities, visit CoinMarketCap. Now, I'm going to attempt to review this next story in a completely non-political way, so please try to understand I'm not trying to bring politics into this. I'm trying to discuss this in a very apolitical sense. I'm just trying to discuss this story as it pertains to cryptocurrency. Now, having said that, a Democratic politician, US congressman, just sounded off on Bitcoin in response to the news that Bitcoin was used to pay Russian hackers to meddle in the US elections in 2016. Now, whether you believe that happened or not, or whether you think this is good or bad that they used Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, it shows that Bitcoin is actually a trackable mechanism that would allow for more transparency and less dirty money to be floating around the world, and for that dirty money to be tracked. To me, sounding off on Bitcoin, because it's essentially the ledger, the set of clues that you used to actually find out that this was done in a concrete way, is something like blaming Scooby-Doo for solving the mystery. It's not cool to be blaming Bitcoin just because it was the payment mechanism. If they had used cash, then you would have never known who these people were. You would never be able to prove it. Let's read the full statement now and we can return back to this rant. Representative Emmanuel Cleaver said, "I've been warning of the potential dangers of @Bitcoin being used by nefarious actors. Now, we know Russia used cryptocurrency to fund their meddling campaign in 2016. The hashtag crypto industry needs to step their game up @blockchain. @BTC Foundation, @Digital Chamber." I just think it's really short-sighted and almost demonstrates a lack of intelligence to sort of say, oh, how could they have used Bitcoin? This proves Bitcoin's evil, when really you wouldn't even know about these payments if it wasn't for Bitcoin's ledger. This is a technology that allowed for you to track this payment. Anyway, I think it just demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of the situation. I just thought it was also funny that they tagged the @Bitcoin handle. I'm not going to talk about that because that's obviously equally political, but regardless, this whole thing just made me sort of just go, God, politicians are so dumb. It just shows that politicians are really not qualified to comprehend and make decisions about a decentralized financial system of the future. Now, if you thought that Fcoin was messing up the Ethereum network, we have word that a new token, iFish, is clogging the Ethereum network almost 3 times as much, or at least double. Gas prices have been as high as 100 gwai, and if you know what that is, then you know that that's very high for the gwai. I'm so sorry, I will not make jokes like that anymore. Anyway, the point is that this rapidly led to a somewhat of a conspiracy theory that EOS was behind funding this Sybil attack, as SYBIL, Sybil attack on the Ethereum network, which is essentially meant to clog up the network with meaningless transactions. A lot of this was wash trading between accounts. This led to a lot of Redditors posting elaborate investigative work showing that essentially accounts that held a lot of EOS had sold them for Ethereum and then traded the iFish coin. And in my humble opinion, there's really no definitive proof that EOS was behind this. It's more of a conspiracy theory, whether or not you think it's well-founded. This triggered actually a response from Dan Larimer. "I can assure you that Block 1 wouldn't be so stupid to spend our resources attacking ETH when all it takes is crypto kitties. There are far smarter and more cost-effective ways at bringing ETH down if that were the goal." I know that you're thinking, ooh, sick burn. But unfortunately, this is true. CryptoKitties crippled the Ethereum network. Fcoin crippled the Ethereum network. And now iFish token is crippling the Ethereum network. People might say, oh, this is horrible that they're spending all this money to cripple the Ethereum network. I would say the bigger problem is that if Ethereum network is so vulnerable that it can be crippled with just a few $100,000. Just imagine if Amex or MasterCard could cripple the Visa network by spending just a few $100,000. They would do it every single day, and it would drive everyone off of the Visa network and onto their competitors, Amex and MasterCard. That's not even considered a malicious attack. That's exposing a flaw in the fundamental system. I love Ethereum, I hold Ethereum, and it simply needs to scale, or else these kinds of attacks and these kinds of blame games are just going to continue to erupt time and time again. And this, of course, led to a meme that I thought was kind of funny. I'm going to share it with you now. Here you have Ethereum on a bike, sticking a piece of wood inside the spoke of the bike, falling and going, fucking Dan Larimer. I just find this funny because literally of late, if you've been on the Reddits, on the subreddits, a lot of the crypto subreddits have been blaming EOS and Dan Larimer for almost everything that goes wrong. And of course, they have Bitcoin maximalists scratched out because that was the old scapegoat of the people who were to be blamed for everything that goes wrong. But regardless, it just shows you, to me, is that Ethereum is so easily sabotaged that if it's so easy to sabotage, it can't be a kumbaya game of us hoping that everyone just has great intentions all the time. This is a big money game There's a lot on the line, and if Ethereum can't support the real weight of these institutions, then they need to move to other platforms that can. And so with all due respect to Vitalik and the Ethereum family, it can't be that easy to sabotage the Ethereum network. And I don't fully believe that there's enough evidence to blame this on EOS. In more bearish news for Ripple, we have word that their system, the XRapid system, which is their blockchain-based system that actually uses the XRP token, really the only thing that we have that's putting the XRP token to use of right now, is actually too slow and too expensive for Western Union. In response, the Ripple team opened up saying Western Union's just so established and their fees are so low already that their system can't really add that much value. But again, this is confusing to me, as I thought Ripple only takes a few seconds and wiring money takes a lot longer than that, is usually much more expensive than that. So if you can't help Western Union, which wires between, sort of banking locations, it's kind of confusing as to how you're going to help other bigger banks. I'm not saying that this takes away from the sort of value prop of Ripple. In full disclosure, I hold quite a bit of XRP token, so I'm hoping that this is not the end all be all for the XRP token, but I am definitely a little bit skeptical, and this is definitely a bad piece of news that they can't seem to satisfy their working relationship with Western Union. In some bullish news, however, we got word that the US Congress is going to be meeting regarding digital currencies, and they named the hearing Digital Currencies, the future of money. This is awesome. It shows that they really do understand that this is the future. They're wading through it. They're not having a heavy-handed approach to regulation, and we're just very excited as to the sort of attitude being taken by US regulators. I think it has the right mix of caution as well as open-mindedness. I think that hopefully we arrive at something that benefits the crypto community as a whole when all of the dust settles. Walton Chain just detailed its plans for global super master nodes, which is of course almost as good as the global super duper master Uber node, which is coming out in 3 months, and it's even more expensive. Honestly, in all seriousness, if you have a few $100,000 laying around that you just want to park somewhere, this is probably not a bad place to do it, as the dividends and the rewards seem crazy. In typical fashion, Vitalik Buterin asked 7 critical questions of the Bitcoin community. We're going to go through them now and just ask them to you guys because I want to have this conversation down in the comments below. They're all pretty important, so we're going to go through them. 1. Bitmain and affiliated pools now have about 53% of all Bitcoin hash power. Isn't this a really big problem? Obviously, the proverbial idea of a 51% attack is sort of the great fear of Bitcoin and their mining network and decentralization in general. So isn't this a big problem? Do you guys see a problem with someone or some entity or a group of entities having the ability to essentially alter the Bitcoin ledger? Let us know in the comments below. Why aren't there any useful large-scale applications yet? Now, honestly, you could argue this in a variety of ways, but I'm curious, what do you guys think? What's the real issue behind there not being any big applications yet? Third, why are there not any good solutions to account security? When will the problem of account hacks and thefts be solved? Now we have biometric identification systems coming in. Do you guys think that new forms of blockchain-based ID can solve the account registration and verification process? Can they stop hacks? Or is hacking just a nature, sort of a part of our online existence? Let me know in the comments below. How can decentralized apps work well with even 5 to 10 second blockchain latency? Honestly, we live in a world of immediacy. How can we deal with, even at the best case, 5 to 10 seconds of latency? Would you be able to deal with a 10-second latency? Proof of work is burning millions of dollars per year, even more than all scams and thefts combined. Is that a tragedy? I don't know, guys. Is proof of work a tragedy? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, what are the centralization risks in proof of stake? Let us know. It's a very interesting question. And of course, it incentivizes heavy centralization when you're rewarding the biggest holders of the cryptocurrency with more crypto. I hope you enjoyed this episode of FUD TV. Obviously, if you're not subscribed to this channel and you enjoyed the show, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed and hit that little bell notification. That way you're made aware whenever we put out new content. I'm Elio Trades, you're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very, very soon on the next episode.